Okay. All right. So first thing that we really wanted to talk about today, I wanted to talk about this because this is coming up in our field. Monica and I, we started this practice almost 10 years ago. Eric and Lauren have been with us for the last 5 years or so, correct? 5 years right now, about that. So we've been doing what we've been doing for a very long time. And when we first started, we were explaining what REV is, what the integration process is, and kind of finding our way. But then eventually, like with any business, you kind of figure out, okay, this is how I want to communicate what we do, and this is what we do and who we are. And now we're here almost a decade later, and why I love my wife, Monica, so much, because she has this not annoying, but somewhat annoying characteristic that she's never fully satisfied, which is a beautiful trait. But she always wants insatiable hunger to just be better. And so recently we have just been talking about like, what is REV? What is our message? And I think that Monica and Erica, I'd love to hear from you guys, like thinking about this process, thinking about what REV is, how we take people through a journey and process. I think this would just be a really good conversation for any newbies that are into REV, anybody that hasn't been into REV, and even the people that have been around for 8-9 years, like, what is the REV experience all about? What is it that we do, and how do we support people?
I want to hear her answer before I say.
It's really interesting because I'm coming from a meeting with a bunch of other practitioners who basically just told me what REV was, and
okay, you can say that, and then
and I think that this is really interesting. Like they're all working with like their holistic practitioners, and what stands out about our practice is everybody's doing something inside out, but ours, they were saying, is an empowering experience, where I really love that, because I think that a lot of people go to a facilitator or a doctor or somebody and they do the service there, but even just having this immersion that we're having and the expanded exhale, people know that we are so involved with community, and why we're doing that is because it's empowering the individual and that person outside of the table. So I think that for us, it's not just treating this problem. I think that's what's really setting us apart, but we're also helping people integrate truly those tools and aspects into their daily lives. But for me, I really believe REV is just truly healing from the inside out, whether that's physical, mental, emotional, and that's what I shared at that last meeting. There's so much to say, though.
Totally. We can keep talking more about it, but yeah, Monica.
So I'm always on a mission to clarify our message, because I feel like if our message is clear, then we can serve more people, because I believe REV and what we provide is for everybody. Everybody has a nervous system. Everybody wants to live the fullest of expressions in their time on earth. So I just feel like we are for everybody, but it's really our message and how we communicate it that hits certain people at certain times. And everyone's timing is different. Their seasons of life determine whether they would find us and all these things. But something just came to me, I think it was today when I was posting a reel for us. And the biggest thing I think stands us apart from most places is that we truly, truly trust in the body's intelligence and magnificence, that everything truly is within you. We just need to connect to it. That's all it is. And so I've experienced so many different modalities where they think they're fixing me, or I think they're fixing me, and it is disempowering, like kind of what you were saying. We are truly the opposite of that, is that we are not healing you. You are the healer. We are just facilitating this experience. So I believe everyone's always healing at all times. And there's so many things that people can be doing to optimize their nervous system's performance, to heal their past traumas, all these things. But that stuff also takes a lot of time, and space. And like for people like me, okay, I have 2 kids, I have a thriving marriage, thriving friendships. I'm doing different things all the time that really, to balance out the sympathetic overdrive that most people are experiencing, even people who are on a conscious journey, we have to balance it by being in parasympathetic, which is things like meditation, creativity, basking in the sun, optimizing our sleep, whatever it may be, the opposite of high stress. But that, again, takes space and time. So what we do at REV is compress that so that it's efficient and easier to fit into whatever kind of schedule or season you're in. It makes it easier so it's doable. That's why this realization today, I'm like, Boom!
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
got it.
That's literally it. It's just like escalated healing, like escalated balance, escalated coherence.
I love that you've been doing this for however long, and you just get so excited for that little like 1% little like, oh,
Yeah.
this is it. And we've said this before too, right? It's like I have had many of conversations with people and reassessments. When we try to, again, like that saying, the healer is within. Like, you have the ability to integrate with him. This just happens to be a very efficient way to do that.
Yeah.
We've said that for years. It's like Lauren going on the 10-day silent meditation retreat. That absolutely stuff is going to happen. Integration is going to happen during these 10 days. But the reality is, very few people have the opportunity or the ability, through kids, work, whatever, to be able to do that. The joke I'll use with people, it's like, yeah, if we lived a life where we could be in the Himalayan mountains and just meditate 10 hours a day, most people wouldn't have the shit that they have. Like, most people like wouldn't have
Yeah.
the anxiety, the depression, the PTSD.
right.
Like, they would heal, but we don't. We live in downtown Chattanooga. You live somewhere, right? And you have all the stresses and challenges that come up. So the efficiency standpoint is like, that's the no-brainer. I remember the person that owned the Lucidity. She owned this woman owns a float tank place, and so she was coming in a few years back. And float tanks, it's zero gravity, zero pressure. You have no. Realize that one of our doors. I think our cat's trying to get out right now. And
It's the
you
air.
lay down. You lay down on this bed of water, and it's got a lot of salt in it, so you're buoyant, and so it's like zero gravity. And within it, it helps you to get into a deep meditation. And I remember she sharing with me. She's like, I love coming here because I can do this for half the time, and I don't get wet, and I don't have to dry off.
Gotta make production.
The production, absolutely. So
Oh yeah.
so making it simple. And then the other piece of it is like what I'm thinking about, like this was Monica's aha moment. And I was just thinking about, like, with this content that we're creating, like, we're into a whole lot of things. And if you watch the 33 previous videos that we've made, it's like we talk about nutrition, we talk about movement, we talk about energy, we talk about spirituality, we talk about a whole bunch of different things. But it's like, it's hard to like discern like, what is it that falls under like REV, and like how are we supporting people through this process. And I thought of like this, I was with Monica and we talked about like kind of a 3-tier approach, and it's kind of like past, present, and future. When someone first comes in, we talk about the experiences that they've had in the past, your physical, mental, emotional, chemical experiences. I think the place that a lot of people have to get to is that where they're at right now, it's all been determined by all of the experiences they've had. Some people recognize that and they like it. Some people are like, crap, I've gone through a whole lot, and they don't really necessarily want to look at that stuff. So it's about healing the past first. Then when that starts, not fully finishes, but starts, then we learn to increase our capacity. We become more adaptable for the present, for the now. Doesn't mean there's not going to have old stuff come up. Doesn't mean that new stuff isn't going to knock us back. But the more things that we can do, and that falls into the lifestyle sorts of things, like limiting the toxins, focusing inward, doing the things that we know are supportive. And then finally, the third part, and I think it's not like linear, it's more of a circular thing where everything's kind of connected, is that now that these patterns have slowed down, we're processing our past, we're being more adaptable in the present, moving forward. What's that look like? And that's why we have our reassessments, which you two ladies are incredible at, of just planting that seed of, cool, now that this stuff is kind of calmed down, what is it that you're looking to create in your life? And that's really where, if you guys agree, probably where the sweet spot is in this process.
The fill in the blank moment.
The fill in the blank moment.
Yeah.
So for me, that's just, I thought it would be a good conversation to have about like how we've been doing this for so long, but refining our message just to even reach more people. But if there's anything else that you guys want to share when it comes to what I shared before we move on.
I just will say that I just think I love that you shared our refinements, because I think everyone's always making refinements to the way they communicate, to how they're living their life. Like, I was even having a reassessment yesterday with a young girl who's going to college. And so she's 18. She's already decided on what she's going into, which is nursing. And I just said, I just want to plant the seed for you that I just think it's ridiculous that an 18-year-old needs to decide what they're going to do the rest of their life.
Mhm.
And 18, like, your brain's not even fully developed. You don't know yourself fully yet. I'm still learning myself, and I'm 37. But I'm just like, I was like, I don't want you to be in the trap that if you decide that's what you want to do, and through the program you decide, maybe I don't like this, and you don't test any other flavors of things, that you're stuck with that and you have to be that the rest of your life. So I just think refinements are always really important.
Mm.
And I'm just glad you shared it because we all are making it all the time, and we should be making them all the time.
100%.
I could go into such a deep thing about this, what you guys are saying. Like, I think about when people say, like, that was like, we joke, and I'll say, like, that was like 14 Ericas ago.
Yeah,
like,
I like that you say that.
yeah, like an old pattern
I
that.
used that the other day. It didn't come out as smooth. It was like,
Well,
it was like
sometimes
2.5.
don't know what
Yeah,
you mean. You
I
have to say it 70 mats ago. What?
I don't know if we like all saw that together or something, but like
Hold on, and say what that means real quick. 'cause
yeah, I was gonna
don't know,
say,
yeah.
I think this is from Rob Bell that maybe we all heard this from or talked about, but he was
Mhm.
saying he's
Yeah.
he's a theologian, so he studies like the science of spirituality basically. And he was saying that people change so much, and that oftentimes, like how Matt's saying, the old past is who they define themselves as, and they never bridge the gap to who they want to be or even think about a possibility. But he says like old patterns and habits that people used to do, like his wife used to smoke, and like 14, I forget her name, but like 14 of hers ago would have been smoking right now. And he's like, the patterns that we used to run are like so many different versions of ourselves, and we've healed so many cycles, and we've gone through so many new patterns and so many new experiences that oftentimes, if those people haven't been in our lives or integrating with us, they'll hold us to that old standard of who we used to be. So you show up as this new version every single day, but in relationships and people around you, they still think of you as that old self because they haven't gone through all those transitions. But that's exactly bridging what you guys just said. It's like that time gap of like the 14 Monicas ago or 14 Ericas ago or Matt's. For some people, for us, that could have been like, I feel like that time period actually starts to decrease so much that I process things almost like in the moment. And I think that's the present that you were talking about too. But I think I explained that well, the 14 Ericas ago. But if you guys don't get that, it's like almost like it's like warping that time where instead of running that pattern, I'm like completely new.
And that totally expedites / changes what we talk about from a cellular standpoint, like brand new body, like physical body, every 4 to 7 years, right? So like through these old patterns and through healing and through awareness, like we can actually see our old self make new choices and decisions. And everyone knows it's like, if you've done something for a long time and finally like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
And you make changes, and maybe it's only 3 to 6 months, two things, maybe one time down the road, you maybe revert back. But like if someone says something and you're no longer that style of person, or you don't believe that's like, you can almost get offended. Like, no, that's not who I am. That's not me, right? Yeah.
Lauren and I have been looking at a lot of like relationship things, and one thing that we've heard like across the board is there's like a barrier in your relationship of what you can share even problem wise with people. Like there's probably only a handful of people that you allow into that like circle to talk to and kind of get data from, but they say not to do that because you guys will heal that wound probably instantaneously. Like you guys are gonna chat, me and Lauren are gonna chat about it until this thing's untangled. But most people, it's like I share this one thing with my mother-in-law, sister-in-law, whoever it might be, and they don't move on as quickly, or they're not in the day-to-day with us where they still hold that past perception. So I think that what we're doing whenever I say integration is quite literally just bridging that gap for people to catch up with us today.
I love